The Chiefs have won the Super Bowl. You want to get to donos real quick?
Yeah, 1 second.
Chiefs are Super Bowl champs.
Super Bowl champs, man. You can't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Back to back. Can't bet against him.
I understand how talented the 49ers roster is, but man, that's just how many times have you seen that movie? It's a tale as old as time.
Well, it's like the Fast and the Furious movies. They're basically the same thing, just a little bit
That's so true.
Every time.
It's just a sequel.
It's just a sequel.
I feel bad. Brock Purdy played well in the first half. But this Chiefs defense is just so astonishing to me that with all the offensive firepower that the Chiefs had, and that's what we've come to know them for, it's been the defensive side of the ball this entire season with defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo that's put together performances like this.
Definitely. And the thing is, we talked about not giving up double-digit points in the second half for 9 straight games? They give up 9 in the second half of this game. And remember, and we're going to get to this in the recap, we're going to get to the donos in 1 second, but the devastating mistakes in the most opportune times were made by who? The 49ers.
Yeah.
You make an extra point, you win the Super Bowl. You fumble a punt inside your own territory after you stop the Chiefs, I think 3 times in a row to give them the life to score the touchdown.
Fumble on the first drive, Christian McCaffrey.
Most teams, and I will continue to go back to what I say, most teams lose games. They do not win them. I think this was just another team win by the Chiefs. Did they play great?
No,
but they played good enough.
I feel bad for the 49ers defense because they really showed up and they played great for 3+ quarters.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't enough. I mean, Chiefs, dogs against Buffalo, 1 on the road. Dogs against a Ravens team we thought were unbeatable, 1 on the road. Dogs tonight, 1.
Yeah, it just goes to show you, man, some teams just know how to win. All right, let's get to these donuts real quick. We're going to start the recap.
All right, let's go to Tyler Timmerman with a $5 donation. Tyler, appreciate it, brother. My son wanted me to put in a donation. Good luck and go Niners. Sorry you took the L tonight. Tyler, really appreciate your son watching the show. Really appreciate you donating. Let's go to Frenchman with a $5 donation. Let's get some baked ribs going.
Let's go, baby.
Troy Manser, $5 donation. Overtime, I am back in the chat. I guess this game ended up pretty good.
Ended up delivering at the end.
Okay, Marcel, I have to find this if this is correct. Because, buddy, you didn't put anything under that, but it says $99 dough.
Wow, Marcel, thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it, buddy. I don't see anything under that, but really appreciate the donation. Let's go to Jack Medford, $5 donation. Let's go. Love overtime, boys. Keep it up. And that is all the donations we have.
All right, well, we're going to keep this stream going. Chat was good?
Chat was great. Really appreciate y'all. Make sure you hit that like.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Subscribe button,
thank you, guys. All right. Well, look, Again, I appreciate you guys staying with us for the full time. I know it was a long time. I know it was a long night. I know a lot of people got work tomorrow. What I do want to say, and I think the thing that stood out to me most, David, was it was an ugly game early. We talk about all the time on this show, and we use it for a lot of different examples. Anytime that there is a postseason format where it's sudden death, whether it's win or go home, whether that be March Madness, whether that be the NFL playoffs, right? Whether that be college baseball and the regionals or the NFL, it's the teams that can win in the most ways that are able to not only survive but thrive. If you go back and watch every game the Chiefs played in the playoffs, they won it a different way, but they won it as a team. Your defense may not play good for 4 quarters, but they need to play good when it counts. Your special teams may not play good for a half. They got to play good when it counts in the second half. And the Chiefs did not make the devastating mistakes that the 49ers made at the end of the game, and it just goes to show you a winning culture and a winning DNA is a real thing. And I felt like the whole time the Chiefs were going to win this game. That's why we live bet it, because they've proven it. But I think the main thing you can take away from this is most teams lose games. They do not win them, even the elite teams.
I think you're right. And, that's why we said coming in, it's not just enough against a generational talent like Patrick Mahomes to just come in and say, oh, you know what? Let's shut down the run. Felt like the Chiefs could win this game if they rushed for 0 yards. Yeah, it'd be nice to have, but it's not enough to just come in and say, oh, you know what, let's just shut down Travis Kelce, because Patrick Mahomes the last couple weeks hit Marquez Valdez-Scantling for a few huge plays. Hit another one today that you won $4,000 on, Blaine. Hit Clyde Edwards-Helaire the last couple weeks on big plays. He's just proven that in multiple ways, like you're talking about. He's proven that he can do that time and time again, especially in the postseason. And down the stretch of this, especially in the fourth quarter and overtime, it felt like if the 49ers allowed free release and zone coverage, then Patrick Mahomes was just going to take that all day on the outside. Hitch routes, hook routes, all of that. feasting, right? But if the 49ers got up and pressed, even if in two-man, then Patrick Mahomes is just going to have a field day with the mesh concepts, which he hit Kelsey on the one that got you the over on his yardage. And then in overtime, press coverage, he takes off with his legs and gets huge first downs with his feet. So it was like, man, he was going to get you coming or going down the stretch of the game.
Well, and Blaine, I want to throw this over to you. I want to make sure and remind people, a lot of people will look at that drop punt that the Chiefs recovered and said, oh, that was the mistake that cost them the game. Do not forget, it is a 4-quarter game. The San Francisco 49ers get the ball first. They are driving it right down the Chiefs' throat. Christian McCaffrey fumbles inside the red zone to give the Chiefs the ball. There's lost points there. You get a turnover on an interception from Patrick Mahomes right out of the gate in the second half at midfield. You're not able to turn that into any points. Those are the things, outside of the blatantly obvious one, that cost you games against a guy like Patrick Mahomes. You damn near have to play perfect.
Yeah, and I don't even want to bring up the punt return thing with the drop punt when a guy hit his foot, but I want to bring up a couple of drives where Kyle Shanahan didn't run the ball one time. Mm-hmm. When your best player, you had the most success in this game, leaning on Christian McCaffrey. You had 2 full drives where the momentum was with you, where you didn't run the ball one time with him. And the big key to me in this game, when did it all change? I mean, you look at halftime, I mean, the 49ers were winning in every aspect, in my opinion. Who had 1 reception at halftime? Travis Kelce. What had happened in the second half, the guy had 80 yards through the air. Patrick Mahomes goes when Travis Kelce goes. And I think losing Greenlaw, if you're the 49ers, was huge.
Oh, it was massive.
Was huge. Those 2 guys, him and Fred Warner in the linebackers, the best linebacker. You look at the Ravens, maybe the closest one. But the big thing in this game is Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Look, I picked the Chiefs every game in the playoffs. Every game, not because I wanted to, because I know they can be atrocious in the regular season. At times they were. That offense was extremely bad. But when it matters most, all right, when there's a guy in the corner open for the 3, and it's Patrick Mahomes, it's like Iguodala, baby.
It's going in.
That is going in. He is going to make the shot. Then you add Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. There's not any huge names that made the difference for the Chiefs. Just the Chiefs.
The team,
made the difference.
the team, mm-hmm. the team, the team. I think this Super Bowl for the Chiefs maybe the most refreshing, if I can use that word, because they won this one in such a different way than they've won the other ones. And we saw that with the Patriots. You'd have some Super Bowls or some years where the offense was just high-flying the whole time. You go back to Randy Moss and Gronk and all those guys. But then you'd have some years where, hell, James White has to catch 2 passes, running a swing route at running back inside the red zone. The Chiefs win 16-13. Mm-hmm. It just goes to show you that it's the ultimate team sport and why football is the greatest sport that God ever gave us from a team sport standpoint, because you have to have everybody to be able to win it. In some years, it's more slanted than the others. But I do want to say, if you're a 49ers fan right now, all right, I think delete me is probably a good subject to bring up because you'd like to delete, the last 30 minutes here. But if you ever wonder how much of your personal data is out there on the internet for anyone to see, it's a lot more than you think. I'm telling you guys, I Googled myself, and the stuff that you can find out about yourself that other people can find instantly, it will absolutely shock you. So what is Delete Me? They're a hands-free subscription service that will remove your personal info that's being sold online from data brokers and guys like that. It's really simple. You submit the info you want to have removed online, and Delete Me's experts will search the internet to find and remove your personal info, and you'll get a report in 7 days. It is fantastic. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners, today you can get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/CRAIN and use our promo code CRANE, C-R-A-I-N, at checkout. The only way to get that 20% is to go to joindeleteme.com/CRAIN and enter that code at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/CRANE with promo code CRANE. Great stuff there. Whether you have a business, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, you do not want your digital footprint out there for the whole world to see, because they'll sell it in a heartbeat and they'll do it right underneath your nose.
I think Tyreek Hill can make a claim that he was the best wide receiver in the NFL this season. And in the 2 seasons since he's been in Kansas City, the Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls. It really is astonishing what they're doing without even a true wide receiver one. Now, obviously, they get around that by having possibly the greatest tight end that we've ever seen, especially in the postseason, which I think that's going to raise some interesting questions. What does Travis Kelce do now? I know everybody wants to talk about Taylor Swift and all that, but he's gotten older and older. He wasn't quite the same in the regular season, but postseason, Travis showed up week in and week out. It's a big reason why they won this Super Bowl. And we said, like, this is going to be the weakest roster that the Chiefs have had, and yet they're still back-to-back Super Bowl champions. And I think a microcosm of what you guys said with the Chiefs finding a way to always win was right there in the fourth quarter, because both of those teams, both with great rosters, got into the red zone with their possession. 49ers put together a great drive. They had to get the penalty, the defensive holding, to get there. They got into the red zone, and what'd they do? They kicked a field goal. The Chiefs went back, got into the red zone, and what they do? They hit an arrow route in the flat for a touchdown to be Super Bowl champs.
Well, and I hate to keep going back to the Patriots, but I'm going to, because this is the closest thing we've seen it. I'm going to ask you, do you think Patrick can catch Tom, as crazy as that sounds? But, what did the Patriots do really well? They were able to move on from superstars outside of their common denominator. Who was their common denominator? It was Tom Brady. We saw Randy Moss. I can go down the list of big-time players that left the Patriots, but they were always able to find a way to win Super Bowls and win championships. Who was making plays at the end of the night? It wasn't just Travis Kelce. It was Noah Gray. It was Justin Watson. Look who scored the last touchdown. It was Jarrett McKinnon?
Mecole Hardman.
Mecole Hardman, who scored the last touchdown? I mean, it just goes to show you, having that common denominator, and maybe it is the three-headed monster of Travis Mahomes Travis Kelce, Pat Mahomes, and Andy Reid. But the three-headed monster in New England was Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and Bill Belichick, and they all leaned on each other. So, Blaine, I'm going to kick this over to you. That now gives Patrick 3. You got 3.
You got a long way to go, buddy.
You got a long way to go, but it's not like he's close to being done.
He's 28 years old.
28 years old.
A long time
Unbelievable run.
Got a long
it was the longevity. It was the longevity
of Tom.
That was so impressive, right? But yeah, look, I mean, I think that when you start talking about greatest of all time, not just a dynasty that you have for a season or two, start talking about the greatest of all time, it really takes a generational talent as a player and as a coach, right? It's Tom Brady and Belichick, like you said. Patrick Mahomes has benefited greatly from having a top 5 head coach of all time and a top 5 play caller. Let's not forget, at least Tom Brady was playing for a defensive-minded coach. I mean, Andy Reid has developed Patrick Mahomes. He believed in him, moved up in the draft to get him. And we could even go to basketball. When was Jordan at his best? When Phil Jackson became the coach. Kobe Bryant got 5 championships with Phil Jackson. So when you start talking about to be the greatest of all time in these dynastical runs, it really takes that generational talent as a player to be paired up with a great coach like this.
With that, I think you got to get the mix exactly right, and everybody's trying to get the mix right. Permission to use a Harry Potter reference?
I'd love one.
You don't ever have to.
I mean, I get it, but I love one.
I call it the Hogwarts theory.
I know that one.
Yes, the staircases may change within the building, but it's still Hogwarts. As long as you still have your main cast, your Mahomes, your Kelce, your Andy Reid, a lot of things can change around you. But you always end up still having that culture that you've built, that winning DNA, and this just adds to it. It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, if you're the Chiefs, again, though, Chris Jones isn't going anywhere. Like L'Jarius Sneed isn't going anywhere.
Sure.
Patrick Mahomes isn't going anywhere. Pacheco isn't going anywhere. Creed Humphrey and Travis Kelce would be the one, obviously.
And how motivated do you stay? Right, like how motivated do you continue to stay? The complacency can always creep in. So forget about the Chiefs for a second, because whatever they do moving forward, this period of time, I mean, this is their moment, right? They've created something very special. How about the 49ers, though? Because we've seen them put together one of the best rosters in the NFL on both sides of the football. Kyle Shanahan, one of the best play callers in the league. The defense is getting older and older. They played a great game tonight, but they're getting older and older. Brock Purdy has shown he can get you to the Super Bowl. I don't know if he's a guy that can go toe-to-toe with a Patrick Mahomes and win it when it counts the most. What do the 49ers do from here?
Well, you got to start looking at cap space. And the problem when you have all these, not that they Frankensteined a team the way the Rams did, and the Rams ended up winning a Super Bowl, but the problem you run into, and the Cowboys run into this all the time, is that when you have this many talented big-time players, right, and now Brock Purdy has shown you, I'm a quarterback that can lead you to a Super Bowl. You're going to have to pay this man his money, to quote John Malkovich off Rounders. But when you got Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey and Ayuk and Jawan Jennings, you can't afford to pay all these guys forever. So at some point, your window, we look at the Bills, right? We talk about windows. Oh, your window's only open for so long. How long is this window for the 49ers going to be open? Now, I'd have to go back and really look at the numbers, but you don't have to be, Kevin Costner from draft day to be able to figure out that you can't pay everybody as much as these guys are going to be worth.
And you still got time on. You still have time on Brock, Right.
You do. What you got?
And
Well, how
that's
much time do
huge.
you got?
On his rookie deal?
Yeah. How much time do you got?
Yeah.
One more year?
No,
I think more than that. He's getting like $800,000 right now. But the bigger question is that your guy to go toe to toe?
It's got to be. He just went toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I get it. And yeah,
let's not forget about who you got on defense: Chase Young, Bosa,
for sure,
Armstead, Greenlaw, Warner. I mean, I go down the list. Like,
let's not look. That Kansas City defense is not just a walk in the park. That's one of the best defenses in the NFL.
It won him a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, especially in the postseason. The Chiefs in general are just different in the postseason. But if you're a 49ers fan, it just feels really good, all right, to have a guy like Brock Purdy, who you're not going to have to pay for a couple years. So you're probably not going to have to pay him the world, right? So you can keep those other pieces around. My main look, what do I have to do to keep Christian McCaffrey here?
Well, yeah, that's a
what do I have to do to keep Christian McCaffrey here? Trent Williams is not getting any younger. This might be Trent's last year. I wouldn't be surprised if Trent Williams does not play another NFL down. He's one of the best tackles ever to do it. He's probably going to be gone. I mean, you got to get rid of probably a piece at receiver, in my opinion. How much do you need Brandon Ayuk?
Well, it's
going to be between, you have Debo, George, and Brandon.
There's a big difference.
One of them's got to go.
There's a big difference between not being able to re-up somebody and now they're a free agent and then trading somebody for pieces or picks. That's what I'm interested to see with the Chiefs. And again, I've got to look at the contract situation. But I do want to say this. There's going to be a lot of people, and we're releasing this on Monday. Obviously, we did the live stream late into the night last night, not going live on Monday morning. But you're going to find out if you're watching this on Monday morning. A lot of people, a lot of the talking heads in sports, you're going to hear probably some people downing Brock Purdy. Did Brock Purdy play perfect? No. But anybody that downs this guy or tries to act like this guy isn't as talented as he is or has accomplished, what he's accomplished, to me, you're reaching for straws. The haters will be out there. I think Brock Purdy's got no place to hold his head but up. And you'll have people out there, they go in their writers, and I'll take this side, and I'll say Brock Purdy sucks, so we'll generate all this clickbait interest. It's just disingenuous to me. If anything, I think Brock Purdy hushed the doubters even more tonight.
He made some great throws tonight. He will. But the NFL has proven more and more over these past couple seasons, well, and really even over a decade now, that you really have to have one of the best quarterbacks in the game to win a Super Bowl these days. Like the era of winning a Super Bowl because you have the best defense in the league and Trent Dilfer's playing quarterback. I don't mean to take shots at Trent. I mean, he was an all-pro too. But like we just haven't seen that much anymore. So maybe the 49ers can break the mold. Maybe they can keep one of the greatest rosters we've seen on both sides of the football, and Brock Purdy will continue to develop. I mean, keep in mind, he's still a young guy, and maybe they'll break through that mold. But right now, I'm seeing Mahomes champion, Tom Brady champion, right? Like, it's like you almost have to be the greatest of all time right now to even hoist the Lombardi trophy.
A couple things with me is, one, if I'm a 49ers fan and we're losing to the Chiefs in overtime in the Super Bowl, I'm feeling good about a lot of things. Two, how much better do you think the 49ers roster is than the Ravens?
Than the Ravens?
I think they have offensively, it's a lot better.
The 49ers?
Yeah.
I think they're both.
The running back position, I mean, you have Zay Jones, you have Odell Beckham Jr., you have Mark Andrews, you have Lamar Jackson.
You have Zay
But even in that game they played against each other, Ravens blew them out on Christmas. Brock threw 5 picks.
Yeah, I know, but then what happened to the Ravens versus the Chiefs?
Yeah, a lot of the same. And again, that's what we talked about earlier in the night on the live stream, was that Patrick Mahomes will make opponents, alter their game plan more than any other team. Now, the 49ers didn't do that much, but going back to the Ravens game, how many running backs got touches in that game? Was it like 3 touches or something?
Yeah, well, it feels like it's all on you.
Right?
Right?
And I get if you have the MVP like Lamar Jackson, then you can put it in his hands a little more, but it didn't work. They scored 10
Yeah, so that's
points.
what I'm saying. Like, what does Brock Purdy have to do to prove to people that this guy's worth?
I think some people, until he wins a Super Bowl, you're going to hear it. Oh, he's got all these great players around him. They won't make that excuse now for Lamar Jackson the first year where he had a decent supporting cast around him. But I feel like what Patrick Mahomes' biggest gift is, it's the same thing that Tiger Woods had a little bit. It's like he could beat you without even playing. Because now, let's just think about what happened at the end there. If you're the San Francisco 49ers, you're taking that ball down the drive before you had to give it back to the Chiefs, who ended up tying it to send it to overtime, thinking, dear God, we better score, because if we don't score, Patrick Mahomes is going to go win the game. Then you think about overtime. You get the ball first. well, we don't go down and score, we're going to lose the game. Patrick Mahomes just has that intimidation factor that if you don't perform, you are going to pay the ultimate price. And that takes you away from being free, right? It takes you away from playing without worry. Patrick Mahomes, why call him Pennywise? He feeds on the fear and the doubt of others, and it consumes them. Not that it really happened to Brock Purdy, but boys, let's be honest. When it got down inside the 15, when it really counted, what did the Niners do? They kicked 2 field goals.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that Brock Purdy won't get respect until he wins a Super Bowl. I don't even think it'll happen then. I had friends of mine after Tom Brady had 6 Super Bowls who said, yeah, anybody could have that if they're playing for Bill Belichick. That's the only reason he has Super Bowls. And the guy had 6 at that time.
He goes, wins one.
Now, I haven't heard from them since Tom Brady won one with the Bucs.
Yeah.
They hadn't reached out.
We can't say that about Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's the best, worst coach ever.
Yeah. He is, but he's like that. We always say.
One guy who won't get talked about enough, who, in my opinion, is my MVP, is Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
You want to talk about dialing it up at the right time at every chance you get. My man was a wizard.
Well, here's where I always find it fascinating when it works out like this. Everybody in the world knows Spags is bringing the heat when it counts. And yet it still works every single time. I mean, the man called damn near a perfect game in the second.
Whereas when the 49ers did that and they brought heat, Travis Kelce made him pay.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, and again, there's so much that goes into it. That's why it's the ultimate team sport. But we talk about Brock Purdy and growing. Well, speaking about growing, maybe your hair's not growing anymore. Maybe you're worried you're going to inherit that hair thinning gene may run in your family.
Oh, no.
I know, David, calm down. Don't worry.
No.
I've got something to help. And it's Provia Hair Care. All right? It's also never too late for a New Year's resolution. We know 80% of y'all have kicked that, but we can get back on the train. All right? The new Provia hair thinning therapy from Chemonics is here, and it works wonders for follicle health and thinning hair. The secret? Well, guess what, guys? It's out. It's in the KFC situation. The secret's out. It's Procapil. All right? And Provia guarantees more hair in your head and less in the shower. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to say with this whole ad read. It's effective for men and women of any age, and it's safe for colored, treated, and styled.
Boom.
It's that easy. It's full. It can run it. It can throw it. It can do whatever. It can kick it, punt it, doesn't matter. And during Provia's Valentine's Day promotion, new customers can save 50% plus free shipping on their introductory package. And every package includes a full 60-day supply of the Provia Serum and Provia Super Concentrate for faster, more noticeable results. So don't wait. Your full, thick, luscious hair starts today. Visit proviahair.com/booster to save an extra 10% off your order. That's PROVIA hair.com/booster. Provia works, or you get 100% of your money back. That's proviahair.com/booster. Turn your hairy situation into a hairy situation.
I love it.
There.
Well done.
All right, guys. Closing thoughts. Closing thoughts here on the Super Bowl.
Just couldn't stop the inevitable, man.
All in
Patrick
all,
Mahomes, Taylor Swift.
All in all, we were on the edge of our seats at the end of a Super Bowl. I don't care how ugly it was in the first half. We were on the edge of our seats, didn't know who was going to win, overtime game. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah. Well, we always say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. We were treated to a good game at the end. And I want to say this, we had the audio playing in our head the whole time. I don't think there was an over Taylor Swift, huge push or anything like that. I was very... not that I really
Apparently
care.
they showed her 17 times.
But it wasn't, we watched the game. I don't think it overtook anything from the game.
No.
I mean, them showing a quick
I don't have a problem.
What's the difference between that and showing Jerry Jones up there just disappearing in front of our
I just need you to show Roger Goodell twice next time when I take the over.
Did they even show him once?
No, I didn't even see him. He was in on it.
God, I wish I
What was it?
seeing him
Was
all
it
the
just
time.
before the end of the game?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they showed him 3 times during the ceremony.
We got to count that bet online.
I don't know if you count that or not, dude. That's the question.
So the final score was 26 to 25 to 22? Was that it?
The final score was 25-22.
25.
Was that scoregami?
47.
I don't know. I don't know if that was a score.
25
Have we ever had that score
22.
before? But, another thought is just that now that we've seen, Tom Brady retire, Drew Brees retire, Peyton Manning retire, a lot of the players, Ben Roethlisberger, that we all grew up watching. Now that we're in the middle of watching another dynasty and greatness, enjoy it while it's here because there's nothing to say that this will continue. And plus, just in terms of the way markets go, Kansas City, I mean, like Kansas City's a great market for football. And the Chiefs, I mean, Lamar Hunt back in the day pretty much, established the AFL that created the AFL-NFL merger. Like, I have no problem pulling for Kansas City.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Kansas City is going to recreate what the Patriots did. But isn't it hilarious just how sports work? When Tom Brady got done, what did everybody say? We'll never see this again.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never see this again. It'll be another maybe 100, 150 years if we're still here. We'll never see this again. Who would have thought that maybe the most likely time we'd ever see it again was as Tom Brady was leaving the game?
He's the only one to beat Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl.
I know. It's maybe that's the only.
Well, I mean, just remember that guy walking around at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to stay healthy, man.
I know.
There's been one.
There's been one who's taken him down the playoffs.
Do you think Tom Brady? Do you think he doesn't like that Patrick Mahomes is winning those Super Bowls?
I don't know, but he likes it, but it doesn't matter because they faced off, and who took.
He did beat him, and it shouldn't be that surprising. I mean, remember the Andy Reid teams in Philly when he had Donovan McNabb? I mean, they were great teams. He just couldn't quite get over that hump. Then you get Patrick Mahomes. Of course, they're going to put something special together. That's a bigger question to me: is how long does Andy Reid want to coach?
Does Tom Brady get back in next year?
No, I don't think so. I think
Tom Brady. Honestly,
if I'm Kyle Shanahan, do I even want to go back to a Super Bowl?
I don't know. I feel like I'm good.
I'm done.
It's almost like Lane Kiffin. It's like, listen, I did the humongous college.
It's about to get more and more interesting. I mean, Jim Harbaugh's going to the AFC West now with the Chargers. I mean, this draft of quarterbacks that's coming up is going to get really interesting with Drake May and Caleb Williams and Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. I don't know, man. It's going to be fascinating to see how everything plays out. Can Joe Burrow stay healthy? Is Lamar Jackson going to be able to put together another sort of run that he had this year? Josh Allen, right there, trying to get over that hump.
It's the same movie. What did we say, right after the game ended on the live stream? It was like, you know what? This with the Chiefs, it's like the Fast and the Furious movies. Like, it's really all the same movie. Like, who's going to win in the end, but they just go about it a little bit of a different way. That's what it feels like. I feel like I was watching Fast and Furious 7.
It's a Mission Impossible. It's a Mission
The family goes in again. Yeah. Like, it's like the same movie, just a little bit different. I just know when I start watching the movie at the beginning credits, whatever impossible scenario, whatever mountain they got to jump over in Rio de Janeiro, it's the whoever gets kidnapped or supposedly, whatever, it's going to end up okay. And the good guys are going to win. It just seems the same thing with the Chiefs.
It's a Mission Impossible plot.
Newsflash, the mission was possible.
Yeah, every time they, even the first half, everything's like...
It seems so impossible.
They got lasers and dogs and tanks and helicopters. There's no way Tom Cruise can do this.
Why is Alan Rickman on the
At no point did anybody think Patrick Mahomes couldn't complete the Mission Impossible. He does it every time.
But you know what? You called it throughout the game because when the 49ers had their chances, chances to sort of put them away. They didn't.
We were screaming.
I hate to keep using movie references, but it's so fitting. If you've ever seen Austin Powers, the scene where Dr. Evil catches him and he puts him in the layer, but he closes the doors as he's submerging him in the water, and Scott's like, "Well, why don't you just let me shoot him? We'll end it right here. You want to?" He's like, Scott, you just don't get it. He's like, I'm just gonna close the doors and assume it all went to plan. That's what it is. Like, when you get this, you've got to take this man out.
Yeah.
Whether it's early, whether it's in the middle, because if it gets late, it ain't working, buddy. The minute this dude gets in the scope, you better start pulling the trigger. There's no questioning.
Gotta put him
There's
away.
No interrogation.
And he finds the craziest stat to me, to be
MacGyver,
honest.
man.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes had 9 rushing attempts for 70 yards.
Wow. And a lot of that was late.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it was when it mattered the most.
I know. But what are you going to do? Let a free release and he's just hitting hook routes all day?
He just finds a way, man.
I saw some people in the comments too, putting it on Jake Moody for getting the PAT blocked. But, and it was a huge miss. But at the same time, the guy set an NFL record with a 55-yarder, hit another 53-yarder in the game. It takes 60 minutes plus of plays.
It just goes to show you it's a game of inches. Harrison Butker hits a 57-yard field goal that goes right in between a knuckleball of 2 guys' hands, not over it.
Yeah.
In between it, goes to the uprights. Jake Moody.
Taylor Swift, man, dark art.
Yeah, Jake Moody hits very similar kick right? But it was only an extra point, but it gets blocked. It just goes to show you, man, it's a game of inches. But great stuff, guys. A lot of fun. That's all the football games until, I know we got the USFL and the DWFL.
Basketball season.
Basketball, baby. Hey, March Madness is coming up. Let's get it. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We're going to be live again Tuesday morning, tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central. It's late tonight. Great job on the live stream. We really appreciate you guys. Shout out BetOnline.ag. Check them out, the new sponsor. Welcome to the fam. Make sure you guys use that code BOOSTER. Get that instant 50% deposit bonus. And the chances of the 49ers winning the Super Bowl, we're going. Gone.